Most of us live under a system we pretty much take for granted. It shapes everything, from our local schools to, well, global politics. But have you ever stopped to think about how it actually works? Well, today, we're going to break down representative democracy. Okay, let's just dive right in with the biggest, most fundamental problem. Seriously, think about it. You've got a country with millions, maybe hundreds of millions of people, all with different ideas, different needs, different wants. How on earth can a group that massive agree on anything? Laws, taxes, where to build a new road? I mean, it seems totally impossible, right? So what's the answer? Do you just get everyone into a giant, chaotic town square and have them all shout their opinions on every single issue? Or is there a more organized way to do it? A system where, we choose a smaller group of people to speak for us and make those big decisions. And really, that is the core choice at the heart of how most countries are run today. And that choice brings us right to our main topic, governing by the people. We're going to look at how a whole nation of individuals actually gets together and makes its choices. It all kicks off with this one really powerful idea, democracy. But you've got to look close at the definition here. The key is that tiny little word, or. It says citizens can exercise power directly or by electing representatives. That one word, it creates two completely different paths a country can take. So yeah, that or leads us to what you could call the two main flavors of democracy. You've got the direct kind and you've got the indirect kind. So on the one hand, you have direct democracy. Think of ancient Athens, right? That's the classical model, where literally every citizen would show up and vote on every single issue. It's like you're doing the job of governing yourself. Then on the other hand, there's indirect, or as we usually call it, representative democracy. And that's the one most modern nations use. In this system, you basically hire someone to do the governing for you by voting for them. And let's be honest, given how huge and complicated modern countries are, it's not really a big surprise that most of them chose that indirect path. But okay, what does that actually look like? What are the parts that make this whole thing tick? So let's really get into it. Let's break down this representative model. What are the essential building blocks? What's the foundation that holds up most modern democracies? See, this whole thing isn't just some vague concept. It's more like a machine. And it has very specific parts that have to work together. It's built on a whole collection of core features, and we can kind of split them into two big groups, the process and the principles. Okay, first up, the process. These are the gears that make the whole machine turn. You absolutely need free and fair elections, so your vote actually means something. Those elections have to be periodic, happening on a regular schedule, so you have the chance to vote people out if they're not doing a good job. A multi-party system is crucial because it gives you a real choice, not just a fake one. And the whole thing is held together by a constitutional government, which is basically the ultimate rulebook that even the leaders have to follow. But those gears won't turn right without the system's DNA, the principles. The rule of law means nobody's above the law, not even the most powerful person in the country. Separation of power is there to stop any one part of the government from getting way too powerful. And it's all built on this bedrock of protecting your fundamental human rights, making sure there's a free press to keep an eye on things, and, this one's a big one, tolerating opposition. So you might be wondering, okay, why this exact setup? Why this combination of parts and principles? How did so many different countries all kind of land on this same model? Well, it really just boils down to practicality. We live in a complicated world. It really all comes back to that very first problem we talked about. This whole system is a tool. It's a tool designed to manage huge, diverse populations without everything just falling into chaos. It creates a structure to make sure minority groups have a voice, to keep the government stable, and, this is so important, it allows for organized, peaceful opposition when the government messes up. All right, so we've seen how it's built and why it's so practical, but what's the whole point? What's the ultimate goal? What is the democratic promise that this system is trying to deliver? Yeah, after all that structure, all those rules and principles and elections, what's the payoff? What's in it for you and me? Well, the payoff is a system that's designed for two huge fundamental things: accountability and freedom. The whole point is to create a government that has to answer to the people it governs, not the other way around. And when it's working well, you can really see that payoff. The rule of law is actually followed. Human rights are protected. Leaders can be held accountable for their actions. And there's actual space for people to criticize and disagree when things go wrong. And all of that comes together to create maybe the most important thing of all, legitimacy. that shared belief that the government actually has the right to govern. So look, this system makes a really powerful promise: representation, rights, and accountability. But these things, they aren't just free gifts. They're a part of a deal. And that leads us to our final and maybe the most important question of all. What does this system ask of us in return?